In today's video, I have taken it upon myself to rank every single LMG, DMR and sniper in Rainbow Six Siege. Now the reason why we are combining this into one video is because there's not many of these weapons, and if I did them in their own dedicated videos, they would all be really short. So why not combine them, get them all out of the way and combine them into one big video for you guys. So starting off, as you can see here, we do have every single LMG in a tier list, and the way we're going to do this is we're going to start off with D tier and work our way up to S tier. So without further ado, let's just start off then with that D tier. Is there any LMGs in Rainbow Six Siege that actually deserve being in D tier? And in my opinion, no. I think every single gun that is classed as an LMG in Rainbow Six Siege is at least up into C tier. So we're going to ignore D tier, we're going to move on up straight on into C tier, and in my opinion, the worst LMG out of all the options we have here is actually the LMG E. Now the reason for that is because it does have a very high amount of recoil, and obviously with it having, I believe, 150 or 200 bullets in a magazine, if you start spraying this thing, it will literally just keep rising and keep rising, and you cannot control it consistently, at least if you're on a mouse and keyboard. I know if you console players, it's easy for you just to hold down on the analog stick. Now with that being said, I do still have to say that this LMG can still be an absolute killing machine, so don't write it off completely. Now with that being said, I don't think any other LMG does belong in C tier, so let's just move straight on up into B tier, and the first LMG going into B tier is Finker's LMG. Now this can also be found on Fuse. I don't see many people use it on Fuse, and this is a solid option for any of the operators that have access to it. The thing is, it's just not as good as the other LMGs in this list. It has a slightly slower fire rate, the magazine size is still good, but the reload on it is still slow as well. So for that reason, in general, I think that's why it's going to stay in B. Now, similar to the Finker LMG, in my opinion, Capital's LMG also belongs up in B tier. Now, the reason for that is also very similar. I believe it does have a slightly faster fire rate than Finker's LMG, which is a positive, but the reload on it is still very slow, and even though it does have a massive magazine, and you could definitely take out the entire team in one mag, if you find yourself in a situation where you do need to reload this thing, it will take a long time. But once again, other than these two LMGs, I think that's about it for B tier. So let's move straight on up into A tier, where we have two more LMGs going in this tier, and one of those is going to be basically the same as Capital's LMG, but it has a smaller magazine. This is the LMG that you can find on Gridlock, and this is only unique to her, and in my opinion, this is one of the best LMGs that you can be bringing in the game. And when I actually play Gridlock, this is the weapon of choice that I choose. Now the reason why I think this is A tier and actually slightly better than Capital's LMG is because it does offer that fast reload, so if you do find yourself needing to reload, you don't take yourself out of the fight for like 20 seconds. In my opinion, even on LMGs, I would opt for that faster reload speed rather than having more bullets in a magazine, because I think even with this, I still think that's more than enough bullets in a magazine to compete. And then the other weapon joining this LMG in A tier is the T95, I believe it's called. This is Ying's LMG, and this one is also very similar because the magazine on it still has a massive capacity, but on top of that, it does still have the fast reload, and in my opinion, it's actually slightly better, just missing out on S tier. And the reason why it's missing out on S tier is because in my opinion, it does lack a little bit of fire rate, a little bit of oomph, should we say. But with that being said, again, this is still the weapon of choice that I like to choose, especially when playing Ying. And in my opinion, both of the weapons up here in A tier absolutely shred when necessary. Which then leaves us with S tier, and there are only 3 LMGs left in the game. Now, which order do they go in? Now, first off, I think Maestro's LMG is going into 3rd. Now, the reason why it makes it this high up in the list while still having, you know, that massive long reload time on that magazine is because the fire rate on it is insane, and the recoil on it isn't actually that bad. And obviously it's only available on Maestro, who is a defender, and in my opinion, having an LMG on defense is actually a lot better than having it as an attacker, because having an LMG in Siege nowadays also causes a 15 or 10% movement speed decrease. So in my opinion, this is an S tier weapon. It absolutely shreds when necessary. I don't play Maestro all that often, but I do know for a fact this thing is insane. Moving on to second place, I think the G8A1 narrowly misses out on first place, which means Tachanka's LMG, the DP27, is in first place. And the reason why these two weapons are in that order, I think for general weapons, the G8A1 is insane, but Tachanka's LMG has basically no drop off, even up to like 25 meters, I believe, but it also has that destructibility, making it not only an amazing weapon for kills, but also insane for actually using it to open up rotate, shoot holes in walls, that kind of thing. But with that being said, I think this is my finished LMG tier list. Let me know if I went wrong anywhere and if you disagree, but let's move over then to the DMRs and snipers. So then here we are with the DMR and sniper tier list. Once again, we're going to be starting off in D tier, working our way up to S tier, and the first weapon in contention for D tier is actually Kali's sniper rifle. Now, I believe the last time I did a DMR and sniper tier list video, Kali's sniper actually ended up in C tier. In my opinion, C tier is probably more accurate, but if you want to put it down in D tier, that is fine. And the reason for that is because ignoring the gadget that comes with Kali's sniper rifle, once you enter the objective, this thing becomes almost unusable. If you miss one bullet with this thing, you're dead, or you should be dead anyway. Kali's sniper rifle is such a unique weapon because there is literally no other weapon in the game like it, and in my opinion, snipers just don't really work that well in a game like Siege, because let's be honest, every gun in the game, if you're hitting a headshot, has the same killing potential as Kali's sniper. Now moving up from D tier then up into C tier, again, I don't really think there is any other weapon that deserves to be this low. I think all the DMRs in Siege are actually really competitive in any rank. All of the weapons you can see here, I could easily see up in high ranks, high tiers, and just people fragging out with them entirely. I think out of all of these, the worst one is probably Glaz's DMR, and I'd probably put that in B tier. Now obviously Glaz also has the added benefit of having that thermal vision, which makes it very beginner friendly, but out of all the DMRs in the game, I believe it does have the smallest magazine. And then on top of that, obviously you also have to play Glaz, so you're not actually going to be bringing any gadgets to the gunfight. Let me know down in the comments if you think Glaz's DMR does belong in B tier, or do you reckon it should be lower or higher? But let's move on from B tier up into A tier, because there are two weapons here that I think are distinctly slightly worse than the rest of the weapons. One of those is going to be Buck's Cammer's DMR. Now this also has the added benefit of having that underslung shotgun on Buck specifically, but we're not taking that into consideration here. The Cammer's DMR overall is actually solid in almost every category. The iron sights on it are arguably the worst in the game. You have to go check that out for yourself if you've never seen them before. But obviously majority of the time you're not going to be running iron sights on any of these weapons, and this one is just very good. In fact, it's up an A tier. It's literally almost an S tier weapon right now. And then next up, the only other DMR missing out on S tier is the SR25. Now I believe these two DMRs have slightly worse damage. Both of these DMRs are still extremely competitive. An argument for S tier could be made for pretty much every weapon in this tier list right now. But let's move on up into S tier and let's decide what is the order of these three DMRs. Now in third place, I'm actually going to go for Maverick's DMR. Now this isn't one that I've used all that much, so maybe this is just the fact that I don't play Maverick ever, so I just don't have the experience on this, and I also don't really play Tuberal, who is the other operator that gets this DMR, but I do know for a fact the damage output on it is insane, and obviously just like every other DMR in the game, it has that slightly more destructibility than any other weapon in the game, so it's always going to be a good option on both Maverick and Tuberal. But with that being said, in my opinion, the EBR, the Mark 14 EBR, is just a better DMR, or at least the DMR that I am more comfortable with. This comes equipped on Dokkaebi. It's definitely her best primary weapon. That's not me throwing shade at the Boss G, it is just straight up more consistent. But on top of that, I also personally like playing a lot of Aruni, and she gets this DMR on defense and it absolutely slaps, which leaves the 417 DMR up in S tier. The magazine count on this is insane. The fire rate, I believe, is better than any other DMR in the game, and the combination of having high damage, high magazine count and fire rate means it's absolutely a demolition when it comes to weapons. So once again, this is my finished DMR tier list. Let me know if you agree or disagree down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching this far. Leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new around here, and I'll see you in the next one.